Yay. Hey everybody, and welcome to our Week 7 Big Brother Canada 3 recap. I am here, as always, with my partner in crime, John Richardson, and I am super duper excited to be talking with Johnny tonight!
Hey guys!
I have been waiting to get my hands into you for like weeks now.
Oh, damn, settle down there, girl, okay? You plays for my team.
I was in the audience when you were evicted, and it took all I could to not like leap over the floor seats and just be like, Johnny!
Plays for my team, honey, okay? Settle down, all right?
And always, the good ones always do, honey, that's all I do.
Well, now, and it's so nice because I've been looking at this picture, right?
Right?
And now I get the real thing, so I'm so excited to talk to you too, Johnny. And you guys, you can follow me at Comedy Jonah on Twitter, all social media. And Johnny, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter as well, at Colatruglio, Colatruglio, and on Instagram as well, Johnny Colatruglio.
Yes, because there's two Big Brother, there's two accounts with you, because someone started, like, your family guest started a fan account.
Yes. And then I took over my normal account, which is where I did all my Big Brother stuff to begin with as the super fan I was. So I figured I would just go back to my normal account. And so.
Because you guys all, did they tell you guys to private your accounts before you went in there? Because everybody did it. And I was like, damn it.
It's sort of all part of the Big Brother process, of course.
Because this is the first year they've done that. Like, other years, you've just been able to, like, find them. And even Big Brother 17 or 6, I'm skipping ahead to next year, even Big Brother 16 people were still out and about. They were, I think the only one that privated her account was Christine.
Okay.
Before she went in. So I guess now this is a new, like, so people don't get harassed and
who knows
while they're in the house. But yes, I am so excited to be talking with you because you had me on the most emotional of roller coasters I've ever been on while I watched Big Brother. I have never cried watching an episode of Big Brother. I have never, like, I mean, I've always kind of cared, but I've never been so emotionally invested in people in general this season. But, like, with you, I was just, like, you, like, grabbed hold of my heart and, like, squeezed it every time you cried. And I was like, what are you doing?
I was such an emotional person. I was crying at everything in there.
You were, and it was like I couldn't handle it. Like the first one got me, like when you couldn't open the vault and you like lost your mind. I'm like, it's okay, honey. Like this isn't just your deal. Like there's 16 people in this house.
And that's the first time you saw me cry. I had bawled already when Risha had lost the power veto that we did on day 1 and skinned her knees. I was cleaning her skinned knees and I was sympathy crying for her. I was a disaster in there.
Now, Johnny, are you normally a crier out in the real world, or?
Yeah, I'm a crier. I can't get through a damn commercial without crying sometimes.
I'm right there with you, honey. I'm right there with you. And then you got me on your birthday, or I guess the night before your birthday, and Kevy Webby is cuddling in your bed, and then he gets up and goes to Peely, and it's your diary rooms that kill me. It's like in the episode, it looked like you were like could shoot laser beams out of your eyes and just kill her.
No, Dana, you have to talk about how many times you watched it.
So sad.
They did so good with that clip for the episode. I love how it all came together.
I know the black lighting or whatever it was. And so you look so like gonna kill her. And then in your diary room, he's like, and then he went to Peely, and I'm like, oh my god. Like the mother in me just wants to like take you and like hold you.
And then you watched it how many times? 4, 5?
I watch it a ton of times because like I watched the episode and then I have to watch it again for screen grabs for my blog and like sometimes like to get the perfect one I gotta watch it like over and over. Like so I was just like it's and then when you lost the veto was like the first time I ever like cried watching Big Brother. Like I'm like what has happened to me?
That was a terrible moment. It took everything in me to keep it together, and you could totally see it all over my face. I was just like so over it. I was so upset.
Yeah, like the minute you walked out in the backyard and saw that, did you go, oh, that's it?
Yeah, the minute I walked out, I was like, damn it, this isn't gonna happen. And then like I was just hoping there was a small ounce of me that hoped maybe Kevin, Brittany, Sarah, and I would work together to take out Bruno and Bobby. And in the very first shot, it's not the way it came across in the episode, but the very first shot was Kevin. And when he went after me, I was like, I see how this competition is going to go now, and I knew it was sort of over for me.
And like, yeah, and like that just had to like kill your heart. Like this is Kevin, your closest ally in the game, and like I know we had to do it for his game, and like
And that's the part that I struggle with, right? Because as Kevin, the game player, I understand the move, and I don't fault him for it. But as Kevin, my friend, and probably the person I was closest to in the house, it hurt a little. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. Yeah. But I mean, I can sort of detach the two, and I mean, I forgive that guy. I love him so much.
Exactly. Let's just put it out there for all of Twitter, all of fandom. You don't hate Kevin, right? Like, that's probably got to be the most asked question you get. Like, how angry are you with Kevin?
I do not. And all my friends and family, when I got back home, they were all hating hardcore on Kevin, and it was like, listen, you guys, Kevin is playing a good game, and that's what Kevin had to do. I understand it. I have zero hard feelings. I have zero hard feelings towards anyone in the house, and that goes for Greg. That goes for anyone who sort of rocked the boat with me. No hard feelings. I can put the game aside, and I can't wait to see all of these people on the outside after the game's over, party with them, and have a great time. I'm going to be friends with them for the rest of my life. I know.
Now, when all this was kind of happening in the beginning, I wasn't sure, because I'm American, right? We don't like sex. We're like, ugh. I wasn't sure, is he kind of bisexual? Is he someone who's just secure with his sexuality? Like, I was trying to figure out what's going on, because then there was Sarah, and he was in the middle, and...
Amen, brother. I was having the same trouble in the house. Walked in the door, and the first thing I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, they put another gay guy in for me.
Yes.
My brother loves me. They really love me.
And I was like asking all the girls. I went over to Brittany, to Sarah, to Willow. I'm like, he's gay, right? Like 100% he's gay. And they were like, I think so. I think he's gay. And I was like, oh my God. And it was literally festering inside of me, and I couldn't let it go. So I went right over to Kevin within 10 minutes of him in the house, and I was like, oh my, I have something to ask you, and I just can't control myself. Are you gay? And so Kevin's response, which of course drove me wild, was, no, I'm straight, but every straight guy has a little gay in him. And then he walked away. And I was like, what? Like... What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Oh my God, that's just... Can we talk about... Since we're talking about sexuality, can we talk about Willow for a second? What?
What is going on? So the thing with Willow is she is in the house was very open about the fact that she was straight. There were numerous times she made it very clear she liked the D, and she repeated that numerous times. But there was this awkward tension between her and Risha in the first week that you guys didn't get to see. And Risha apparently, so here's the story. I'll give it to you because you guys didn't get to see this part. Risha claims that she went to go speak with Willow one-on-one in order to just see where her head's at, to get to know her and possibly get a vote from her, because that's what someone who's on the block needs to do. He apparently went up to her in the bathroom and started to have sort of like this one-on-one, and Risha sort of opened up to Willow and said, you know what, I'm bisexual, blah blah blah, trying to get Willow to divulge some information as well, because Risha's theory is
blowing the line here, Johnny. You're blowing the line.
Risha honestly believes that Willow's a lesbian.
I do.
So, I mean, apparently, Risha didn't get anything out of Willow. They had a very nice conversation. They talked about Risha's...
Hi, Willow. I'm bisexual.
So after Risha leaves, Willow says that that Risha came on to her in the bathroom and made her really uncomfortable. And so... And repeated, had to constantly tell us that she loves the D, and she was so uncomfortable about how Risha made her feel, and it's unforgivable. And so we were like, okay, whoa, that's a lot. Like, Willow, that's a little much. But that's the thing. And now we see this whole Swillow thing happening. They were kissing, and like, I don't know, like, I didn't realize the night that we had after the BBTV with John Party, we got all the booze, we got a little drunk. I didn't realize that they had made out in the storage room. I mean, there was some kissing that was happening by the hot tub, which I think none of the feeders got to see except clippets of it. But there was some kissing by the hot tub, but there was that hardcore makeout in the storage room. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, this has been a very, confusing sexual Big Brother.
And like, and I'll tell you, Johnny, Sarah's boyfriend, the night that you were evicted, like the night that all four of you guys were up on stage,
Yeah.
that was the first night that they showed the clips of Sarah and Willow. And Sarah's boyfriend was like in the section beside me and behind me.
Okay.
And the minute they started showing these like clips of Sarah and Willow, I looked up and he was not happy.
Really?
Not
I
happy.
thought straight guys like that.
So, like, here's the thing. Sarah was very open about the fact that she had a partner. She referred to him as a partner, Scott. They had been best friends for a very long period of time in their life and then became partners. Sarah identifies as queer and is definitely attracted to women and has been with women before. I believe that from my discussions with her, she's in somewhat of an open relationship with Scott, from my understanding, and that neither of them would want the either to deter from a emotional or a loving moment with another human being. So, as far as I was concerned, everything that's going on in the house with Willow is okay for Scott.
I don't know.
I'm just old-fashioned. I'm just gay. Okay, I'm just gay. I'm monogamous, gay. Like, that's it. Not even the whole sentence.
I don't know. He just
the queer.
He really didn't look happy.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. He did not look happy. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they have like rules where they need to talk about it first, or like, I don't know.
Permission.
Like, I think going on Big Brother, they would have had that discussion. I mean,
I think. Like,
oh gosh, if it was my partner, I'd be like, do anything you want to win that money.
But I understand he hasn't been to a taping since, so.
Oh boy! All right. Well, I mean,
maybe he's
Scotty.
dating
I mean,
someone.
it was Sarah too, and I just thought that it was okay, and I had asked Sarah ahead of time. I'm like, this is okay with Scott, right? He's not going to be upset, and she's like, no, it's all good.
Oh.
I feel bad if he's upset about it. I hope not.
He should just relax.
Yeah.
Just
Daddy, you'll feel better.
Just go into my side of the nightstand, Scott, and just relax.
I love it.
I am dying here. Oh my god, this has gone completely
Right.
Out of control.
Okay, we are out of control. Let's bring it back. So, Johnny, you're a huge super fan. You've watched this show. You play it on the internet.
Yeah.
What was the most shocking part of this whole experience to you? Was it slop? Was it like the crazy conditions? Like,
You know what? Do you hear Veto squeaking his dog toy?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's Veto.
Show it to us. If you'll-
Come here, Veto.
Veto.
Okay, now he's not coming. Okay, the most shocking experience, I would say, in the Big Brother house for me was, like, it was so surreal for me. I didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was. I genuinely formed these bonds with people that I thought, sitting on the outside, I thought to myself, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to be able to stab these people in the back, no big deal. When it comes time to cutting a bitch, I'll cut a bitch, not a problem. But you genuinely develop these bonds with people, and you end up really loving them. And it's harder than I expected it was going to be to vote people out, to talk badly about someone behind their back. I mean, and I've played the online games before, and I've done all of it before, but for with real people in front of you that you get to know and love and you spend all of your time with, that was so hard for me. The paranoia in the house was another thing that really shocked me. I was like straight paranoid about everything. You'd see someone talking and having a conversation, and instantly you're like, oh my god, they're forming an alliance and they're targeting.
It could be about what you want in your coffee, but they're like, they're together now, and I'm done.
And so the paranoia was real. And so those two things were really what was so tough for me. So the unexpected piece. I mean, I knew a lot that there was a lot of downtime in Big Brother, being a feeder, feed watcher. That's the norm. But I think that the paranoia and really those emotions and that roller coaster that you go through in there, that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that at all.
Oh, I bet. I couldn't do it. I'd be a mess. I'd be like in the corner crying just all the
Oh,
time. I
and
wouldn't.
I mean, I was. I mean, that's what you saw me crying all the time because I was a disaster.
I would have been a hot mess. I would have been like the most weeping 40-year-old person in that house. Like,
Do you think that was an accurate depiction of you? Like when live feeders say, oh, I watch the live feeds, I know exactly who Johnny is. Do you feel that because you've been a feeder, now you've been on the feeds, do you think that was an accurate?
You mean from the show to what?
Yeah, from a fan's perspective, from the feeders. I mean,
I came out and I watched all the episodes pretty quickly. I binge watched them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I totally got the boy crazy edit and that comical funny edit for sure on the show, which is certainly me. What you see is definitely what you get. The part that I was a touch disappointed in was the fact that you guys didn't get to see Johnny the game player. I mean, I was in the house for 28 days, and I was playing the game. It's not like I was sitting back and just chilling. So you didn't get to see Johnny the game player. And there was so many great game conversations before the epic gummy bear strategy session that I got airtime on that were me playing the game. So I was a little disappointed in that, but at the end of the day, like I said, what you see is what you get with me, and that's Johnny. That's the real Johnny. And I'm happy that the fans who just watched the show love me, and I'm also happy that I've had a pretty positive response from all of the feedsters and the online presences. So that makes me happy, I guess.
So who do you think is getting the worst edit compared to what they're really like in the house? Like,
ooh, that's a good question. The worst edits. I mean, like there's.
I would say for me, I think it's probably Pilar. Just because we all think that she's sitting there and she's not so smart, but from what I hear, she actually.
I mean, I would say that her initial edit up until let's say recently, up until the last 2 weeks, I would say Pilar's edit was fairly accurate. She wasn't really playing the game. She was at summer camp. She was enjoying her little crush on Kevin and making out with him, and that was fairly accurate to what the show showed. I think in the last couple of weeks, comparing to what I've been seeing on the feeds, what I've been reading from all the updaters, she has started to play the game a little bit, and there are moments where she actually has a really intelligent game conversation with people. So,
it shocks the shit out of everybody else when they're watching too. They're like, whoa.
We're like, whoa, did that just come out of her mouth?
Well, the fact that she won that game where there was the things where, they were slowly revealing it and you couldn't tell what that was. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's this. Oh, the veto comp. Oh, like, how is she seeing this? Like,
but the best part was she genuinely looked shocked herself that she was answering the right too. She's like, oh, like she's like, oh my god, I got it. Like,
ay Dios mío, ay, ay.
He's like, oh my god, I got it, and now I have to make a decision, and there's no one here to help me do it. Like,
I know, right? Like,
totally.
How much of a disaster would it have been if she won the triple last night and her having to make it, like, it would have been an epic gong show and it would have been hilarious. Not that it wasn't an epic gong show last night.
It was just brutal. So would you, okay, I know you hold no hard feelings towards Kevin for what he did to you, but now that you've seen what's going to happen in the future and with your little crystal ball, would you have saved him the week before knowing that he's just going to, like, get you out the week after?
This is a tough one, and this is one that I sort of replay in my head quite a bit. And as you know, as you come out of this crazy house, adjusting back to the real world is hard because all you can think about is the game and going back to decisions and conversations and moves you made that may have kept you longer. In that week, we had to take out Greg. There was no ands, ifs, or buts about it. If Kevin wasn't on the block, I would have taken off whomever was sitting beside who was on the block at the time.
Bobby, wasn't it?
Bobby.
No.
I wasn't going to say Bobby. There was no way Bobby was going to be saved. So whomever was sitting there would have been the person to come down so that we could backdoor Greg. That was the plan. That's what was happening. Now, did I need to win that power veto? Probably not. Pretty much anyone who was competing should have used the veto. I mean, Zach had made it very clear to me that he was throwing that veto competition because he didn't want to have to make a decision to use the veto. Bobby would have saved himself. Kevin would have saved himself. Brittany would have used it. And Sarah said she would have used it as well. Did I need to win that? No. But again, going back to that paranoia in the house, although Brittany had sort of planned to call me out at that nomination ceremony and say I was the target, something inside of you, even though we went up to the HOH room, we did our little happy dance that we had pulled off, this, charade that we were putting on, something inside me just said, you never know. You never know what could happen. And if you don't have the veto in your hands, then you're not certain whether you're going to stay or go. So I was just one of those things that I was like, I can win this competition. I was winning it. Although, I mean, Kevin, when you watch back the episode, said that, he had to put on some fake tears to try to make people feel bad. But what people didn't see was Kevin was actually throwing up into the bucket. I mean,
that was a horrible competition. I'm just telling you right now, that's awful. I don't know what happened to Trevor between the end of that season and when he came up with these competitions, but he's twisted this year.
Oh, yeah, great twisted. Like, these competitions are insane this year. And I mean, do I regret winning the power veto? No. Would I have used the power veto? I think Kevin is just a placeholder. He happened to be on the block. It happened to be perfect that I could save my Kevy Webby in order to backdoor Greg. But I would have saved whomever it was in that position to get Greg on the block because he was coming after me, period. End of story. So, no, I don't regret it. I would still make the same move all over again if I could.
Now, I asked this question to Greg when we talked to him last week because I always want people to be honest. Like, everyone's always like, oh, I love everybody. But who was the hardest? Be real with us. Who was the hardest to live with in that house? Like, did you just want to kill every day, all day?
Yeah. So within the context of the house, Greg drove me crazy. Greg is such an emotional person. And emotional in the sense that, like, what Greg thinks, Greg is going to tell you to your face loud enough for everyone who's around you to hear as well.
There's no filter. There's no filter.
He's talking shit about, the person who's sitting in the living room couch, and he's sitting at the dining room table. He's saying it loud enough that the person on the couch is hearing them. And that's just Greg for you.
Oh, I love him.
To live with, for sure. Greg was also took paranoia to a whole new level of extreme. Greg didn't sleep, and I mean, I didn't sleep in the Big Brother house very much either. I would get only maybe 1 to 2 hours of sleep a night. And Greg,
you're crying all the time. You're tired.
I know. And Greg was very much the same. He was never sleeping. And, like, I was up late all the time, and I'm sure the feeders loved to see someone up at 3 o'clock in the morning because, I mean, when I would watch live feeds, who wants to see people going to bed at, like, midnight or 1 o'clock? Screw that. We want to be up all night long watching. So I was up to, like...
You do. I go to bed.
I know, right? And so I was up to, like, 3:30, 4 o'clock on the regular in the house. And Greg would get out of bed and come and sit at the top of the stairs and stare like a freaking psycho. He had these crazy eyes, and there were numerous occasions where he busted quite a few of us having talks. Like, there was once he busted Neha and I having game talk, and we, like, literally panicked because we were like, how are we going to get out of this without him knowing we were talking? And we came up with this huge elaborate plan to get away from it, but he would do that almost every night. He would almost be waiting for me every night. And I would get into bed. I'd be the last one in bed most of the time. And I could see his laser eyes from across the room looking at me like a psycho.
Is that how he earned the Ginger Ninja? Because he was like a ninja.
Like, I'm psycho. I'm always looking at
ninjas everywhere.
Oh, my God.
Certainly one of those people who drove me crazy. I would say another person, Godfrey. I mean, I love the Godfrey that is now. The Godfrey that was in there for the first 4 weeks while I was there, completely different Godfrey. That dude slept all of the time. And now I know that he says that was part of his game, but, like, he was legit sawing wood on the couch during the day when he was taking a nap. He was not eavesdropping on conversations. He was dead to the world asleep. And he would sleep for 40 minutes at a time, and he would somehow manage to get away with it.
Big Brother never woke him up? How is that possible?
Big Brother would let him get away with it all the time. This guy right here, close my eyes, 10 seconds, Johnny, nap time is over. And it's like, really? Like, I barely had my eyes closed. And they'd be calling my shit out.
Oh, my God.
45 minutes later, and then he would get woken up.
See, Greg's answer to this question was Willow.
Willow, eh?
Yeah, that's what.
Willow was. I will say this. Willow was irritating. In the house, she was entertaining to some extent, and I'm sure some of the feeders found her a little entertaining. Her dancing and her wacky antics was, whatever. But after a week or two of it, it got old really fast. And so I was like, oh my God, Willow's at it again. Like, oh my God, here we go. So she was a little irritating to live with, to say the least. She was really nice and kind-hearted. But yeah, she drove some people crazy.
She was one of my preseason. Like John and I both picked. We put like 2 girls, 2 guys. So like she was one of my preseason before I saw anything except like that 1-minute snippet that they give you. It was like her and Brittany were my top 2 girls, and Kevin and Bobby were my top 2 boys. And let me just preface this with Bobby's the only reason why he's my top 2 boys because he's from Oakville. I'm from Oakville.
Okay.
I have to like.
Absolutely.
You will never see somebody from Oakville on Big Brother again. Like, it's just that kind of town. Like,
well, to Ev's Pearl in our chat room says Greg says he really lost it in the house. That's what happens when a person doesn't sleep, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Johnny?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I felt like I was able to keep myself under control a little bit better.
Right.
I mean, I'm used to not sleeping. I mean, when I did university, I barely got into sleep throughout an entire.
No, like when you're like in your late 30s and you don't sleep, that's bad. Like ask John when I'm like I work.
You're 40 like Dana, yeah, it's tough.
When I don't sleep, they know it. They're like, you need to go to bed, girl.
Dana, sign off.
Maybe that's like what Greg said. That's probably what happened to him. The lack of sleep drove him mental in there.
Like, totally.
The older you get, the more you need. Like, you just can't.
No.
So God, what went through your mind when Arissa said, Johnny, you are evicted?
The worst words you could ever hear in the Big Brother house.
I know.
I mean, here's the thing. I knew that week that I was pretty much a done deal. Right from after the power veto, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle for me to stay. Of course, you saw me fight, and I was literally fighting till the morning of eviction. Up until we were basically sitting on those couches, I was fighting to stay. But I had kind of already made peace with the fact I was being evicted. Now, as a super fan, you always know that there's possible twists and turns that could, maybe get you back in the house. And something in my gut had said, it's done, but it maybe is not done yet for you.
So when she said, Johnny, there's a way you could get back in this house, did like the little Superman inside you go, yes!
Oh, and I think you saw my reaction on stage. I was so excited. Because I was like, you know what? I had processed the emotion of being evicted and Big Brother being over for me. And then at the same time, you always held on hope that there would be this possibility. And then she gives you the possibility. And it's like, oh my God, it could happen. I can go back in. Like, I was so excited. So excited.
So how come, like, if you knew you were going to be gone, you knew that your time was up, how come when you were on that eviction couch and they say, Johnny, give your speech, why did you not just blow the shit out of that room? Like, if I had any information that I could just blow people's games up with, if I knew that I was done, there was no hope in hell, I would just like word vomit it all over the place. Like, it was.
I felt like I wanted to go out with a little bit of class.
Who cares about class, Johnny?
There you go, Dana. There you go. The difference between.
I had done some blowing up behind the scenes. Of what I needed to do, regardless of the fact that I knew I was going. I felt like I had blown up a little bit behind the scenes with certain people, and I was happy with that. I also held on to that little tiny glimmer of hope that I could possibly be coming back. So to blow up my game on the couches in front of everyone and call everyone out, to turn around and go back into the house 3 or 4 days later, probably wouldn't have been in my advantage to do.
Well,
so I had done the little blow-ups behind the scenes, but I didn't really want to, like, literally vomit over everyone and then walk out to come back in later.
You Canadians are tough with your speeches.
Yeah.
In America, we don't do that. We're like, oh, just vote for me. Look at me. Oh,
I know.
But, man, you guys blow each other up. So my question to you is, because this is something I underestimated since the beginning, is Cindy with an S.
Cindy with an S!
Holy crap! She's so much better than I ever thought she was going to be. What was your first impression of her?
First impression of Cindy, what you see with Cindy is what you get with Cindy. She came in and was literally like, "Hi, I'm Cindy with an S." And literally, instantly, she rubbed almost everyone in the house sort of the wrong way. And I knew from, so she introduced herself as Cindy with an S, which was like strike one. We were having a conversation, her and I, with a bunch of people in the kitchen, and she's sitting up on the counter, and she's sitting there up on her, like, throne, basically, is what she looks like. And, you know, we were trying to get to know each other, right? So everyone's sharing a little bit of information about themselves, and Cindy just kept spinning the conversation back to being about her. And that is truly Cindy, though. And that is just her personality, and it's part of her quirkiness, and it's something that once you get to know Cindy, you can kind of look past. So, yes, initially she rubbed me the wrong way. That's why she got my vote on that night one when we had to go into the DR and vote.
Yeah. Because
she was rubbing me the wrong way, you know.
And you could remember her name, Cindy with an S. So, okay, I know.
I forget her name because of that, right?
Oh, my God. I know. My first reaction to her going, "I'm Cindy with an S," is I'm like, "Honey, we ain't playing Survivor. No one's writing your name down. We don't care how you spell it." Like,
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. I think JP may have even said that. He's like, "Oh, so Cindy with an S, because we're going to go into the DR and cast our tribal council votes." Like, I feel like JP said something to that extent, and we all had a good laugh about it.
Well, John and I had a good laugh, because I'm like, when she came, like, when she was, like, on her way out and when she came back in, I'm like, Cindy with an S is gone and Cindy with a C is here. Like, you don't mess with Cindy with a C, because she's going to cut you. And JP found that out. Like,
right? Like, she came back. And the great part is I got to see Cindy in Sequester, and Cindy's personality is very much the same, was still the same in Sequester, but I got to see a little bit of a different side of Cindy in there. I didn't talk much game with Cindy at all in the house, but in Sequester, we got to talk a lot about game. And I got to see a fierce competitor in Cindy, and she knew what she wanted to do going into that house. And I mean, I'm going to say it, she went in there, and at least that initial week back in, she executed the plan that we discussed in Sequester to a T and slit Jason's throat. It was perfect. Perfect.
So what do you think she did wrong week 2? Like, do you think there was anything she could have done, like, either to not get on the block at all, or, like, I mean, I know once she got eliminated from that competition, there was really nothing that was left for her, but...
I think... we would have all had a really hard time going back in to begin with. We would all had a huge target on our back, and that's something that's really hard to overcome. She may have given up too much information to too many people all at once coming back in the house, and that may have been something that she maybe could have done differently. Certainly, we told her to go in there, tell Sarah everything, and work with Sarah 100%, and she did that. But I felt like she gave up a little too much information too quickly to a lot of people. And maybe if she held on to some of that a little bit longer, that maybe have been a little bit more beneficial for her. But unfortunately, the target was on her. And I mean, even trying to rebound from the JP vote and trying to lie and blame it on Kevin and Willow, that really didn't play to her advantage either, because it became apparent very quickly that she was just lying just for the sake of trying to cover it. And and everyone sort of figured that out really quickly.
Let's go back to that competition, though, because the minute I saw that competition, I was like, this isn't fair. Like, I don't think that competition was designed fairly for anybody who entered it, because that is...
or someone tall or a man, right?
Yeah, like anybody like with any kind of stature, like that is a 98-pound, tiny little person's challenge to win.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, 6'1" Rish is never going to win it. Like, big old Greg is never going to win it. Like,
And I mean, that was really my thoughts as well. And so many people have commented to me, and like even my family were like, you looked really upset up there before you started the competition and while you were waiting to compete. And I said, yeah, because in that moment, I had to reprocess all of those emotions that Big Brother was done for me. I knew I could not win that competition. I knew before I even stepped on the knot it wasn't going to happen. I have size 9.5, 10 feet, and we were in these ginormous hiking boots, and the knot was literally the size of a grapefruit. And that literally was the knot. And I thought to myself, as much as I have the endurance and willpower to go and push my body through the pain, that was just something I physically, just the physics weren't there for someone like me to do, for someone like Greg to do, for someone like Risha to do. That
Greg said the minute he put on that outfit, he knew he was done for. He didn't even need to see the challenge. Like the minute they like dressed him up like Lara Croft, he's like, I'm done. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that those competitions are historically meant for a small-framed female. The only other person that was in the house that maybe could have done well in that competition was Bobby, because he's a small-framed guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw his ridiculous spidey.
Oh, yeah, he's got that arm strength. He's got the upper body strength.
Yeah.
From the rock climbing.
And we saw the knot. It was totally tiny. And then Cindy at the end sitting on it with her tiny little ass. I mean, tiny. Everything was tiny. Yeah.
Jordan might have been able to handle that competition because he's not a big guy. Like,
and I thought Bobby could have. The thing with it as well, I mean, the strategy that got Cindy and Neha far was sitting on the knot. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. We've got things going on down there. You can't put a knot between your legs and sit on it. It kind of
disappears into us, so it's all.
You tuck it, right? Like it has to be tucked somewhere. Still, you can't do it.
No, you can't do it. And I mean, Greg said he attempted to sit on. I know when he fell, he was sort of sitting on the knot, and he's like, it was the most excruciating pain ever. You've got this knot basically ramming into your junk and pressing it into your ass, and it's just like. He's like, it's the most uncomfortable thing ever.
Greg ain't having babies anytime soon.
And so I was just like, I was going to actually try to move down to sitting on the knot, but I had slipped. And so I was thinking about moving down because Cindy was sitting at that point, and I was like, maybe I can do this too. And then I slipped, and then it was too late.
The minute I saw that competition, I was like, oh, there's not. Because, I mean, you were the one I wanted in there. It's either you or Neha. And I looked at that, and I'm like, there's no way in hell, like, either of them are going to make it through this.
It was so hard for me to accept. That's why I looked mad on the stage, because I was upset that my Big Brother experience was over. And for me, the part that really worried me too was I had Neha right beside me. And before we even got raised up onto the knots, she said to me, Johnny, I can't do this. And literally within the first 10 seconds of us being up in the air, she's like, Johnny, I'm going to fall. Johnny, I'm going to fall. And I was like, oh my God, Neha, I'm like, you can't fall. We can't let Greg, Risha, or Cindy go back in. It has to be you or I. And like for me, I fell. I was on there 3 minutes. I fell. Greg fell 10 seconds after me. It may have not looked that way in the episode, but I hit the mat. I was still on the mat when Greg fell. So, I mean, I was like, oh my God, Neha, you have to do this. I think you guys got to hear me say, slay it, Neha.
Yeah.
Because all I wanted was, if it wasn't me, it had to have been her. And the moment she walked into the room after the competition, when she didn't make it, I didn't cry because I was gone and out. I cried because Neha had fallen and didn't make it. It was... I'm
glad you guys didn't get to see that, and they didn't show you guys like waiting and watching. Because if you had cried, I would have been.
Because. And she would have watched that over and over again.
I would have watched that over and over again.
I'm not sure why I didn't cry. I had equated to the fact that I had processed my emotions in the house, that I was done. And that I didn't need to reprocess them. I mean, I was devastated, don't get me wrong. And you could see it all over my face going into the competition. But when Neha walked into the room and it was done, and I'm like, Cindy's going back in, I'm sorry, I bawled my eyes out.
You can, we're adults here, Johnny.
Okay, good. I was so upset. I was like ugly crying, too. It was
oh, gosh, yeah.
It was bad.
So now who are you? I mean, most of your alliance is kind of.
I know.
Oh, so who's left in there that you even care about winning?
You know what? So here's the thing: the person I would like to see win or love to see win is definitely Sarah. I love my girl Sarah. She is super smart. She's super genuine and super sweet, and I would love to see her win the whole thing. Here's the problem. Realistically, I don't think Sarah's going to win this game. She is a huge target, and she could be coming out those doors in the next week or two for sure if they can't pull through an HOH win. So here's like who's going to win, or who?
Yeah. Who game-wise, who's going to win?
Game-wise, who can I accept winning Big Brother Canada 3?
I like that.
Really, two people I can accept winning the entire game without feeling like we were robbed as a fan or as someone who played the game. If Bruno wins, I would be okay with that. Bruno has played an amazing, phenomenal game. He took me out, and so I don't hold any hard feelings because of that. He's playing a great game. And because of that, if Bruno won, I could accept him as our winner of this season. The only other person...
second place. Who would be second place?
Well, Bruno would be smart, and he would take a Peely or an Ashley with him to win guaranteed. That's what Bruno would do for sure. The only other person I can accept as a winner of this season, and it's odd because I never thought I would say this, is a Godfrey. Godfrey is playing a really great game since he's awoken the sleeping giant, he is the only other person that I think I could accept winning the whole thing. Anyone else, and I think I would be a little upset. And I think the fans.
What will happen to your head if Peely wins this game?
Oh my head will fucking explode if Peely wins. There's no possible way to win the game unless Peely manages to knock out Bruno, Zach, and Sarah in the next 3 weeks, and she is the person who does it single-handedly. Then there is no possible way for Peely to win the game. No way.
Can you imagine Peely walking out of that house with $100,000?
I would
Can
die.
you imagine us there in the backyard interviewing her? Hi,
This
Peely.
mother would be like, forget it, we're done, we can't handle this anymore.
And she'd probably just be like, she would just be laughing. Like, she probably wouldn't even believe herself. That annoying giggle that she has.
Oh gosh.
That's all she would do.
Abigail, let me just push you on a swing. Here we go. We'll swing.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see it.
That was awesome.
We'll get to that. So let's get into this triple eviction that just happened. This crazy, insane week. Like, I mean, first we have Kevin's HOH week. So what did you think when Kevin won? Were you like, finally, yes, like, yay, Kevy Webby? Or were you like...
Yeah, I was super excited. I was rooting for Kevin. I'm not going to lie. Sarah, Kevin were the two people I were rooting for prior to the triple. Kevin wins, and I was like, okay, Kevin, pull your head out of Zach's ass and let's do something. Let's do something worthwhile. Let's make a big game move that people are going to respect you for. And I think he did what he needed to do. His nominations were good. I mean, I would have played a little more cutthroat, and I would have thrown Bruno up there instead of B. But I understand why he didn't. That was a safe move. And then, of course, we have Bobby and this stupid power of veto secret thing. Like, this guy is an idiot, honestly.
Yeah.
Bobby might be a sweet guy in real life, and I mean, I hope that's the case. But game-wise, completely clueless as to what the hell was going on. Completely. Why would you lie and make up a secret power of veto? Like the first thing I would think is like, you're going on the block because we're gonna flush it out.
Because that's what Adele said. He's like, if you're gonna lie about something, you need to have some proof. Like, people are gonna ask to see it, and like nobody did. Nobody said, let me look at it. He's like, even when I lied about mine, I had the card. I had something to show somebody.
Never worked in Survivor. Never worked in Survivor.
No. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, and maybe it speaks to a little bit of the stupidity of my cast as a whole. Someone says they have a secret veto. Secret is in the title, which means that it should be a secret.
Right? You got a secret veto. You pull it out of your ass like Allison did on season 2. That's a secret veto.
She couldn't tell anyone about it, and that's a secret veto. Bobby saying he has a secret veto kind of defeats the purpose of calling it a secret then. So I don't know.
I have to root for this kid. I'm like, oh, Lord.
So stupid on his part. And then, I mean, Kevin wins the power veto. And yes, he can make a huge move here. I was hoping, honestly, that he was going to pull down Brittany and throw up Bruno to guarantee that one of them went home. Because in Kevin's mind, he thought that there was this possibility of this secret veto. And so I would have thought that, let's guarantee a big guy goes home this week by ensuring they're both on the block. And then if Bobby does have a secret stupid veto and he pulls himself off, whatever, and you throw up a pawn and no big deal. But, I mean, at the end of the day, him keeping the nominations the same, Bobby making a fool of himself by throwing out the plastic coat hanger, that worked too, and I was super proud of him for pulling off that week and them sending...
Let's talk about the outfits, the veto outfits, because I don't know what costume is doing this year. Like, they have had you guys in the most god-awful...
Right?
Yes.
What were you thinking when you walked into the room for spooling around and you had to put on that thing?
Oh, yeah.
That's not even clothes. Like,
I saw this morph suit. I look at it and I'm like, oh my god. They are going to see every roll, every bulge, anything. Basically.
Every nut, every penis, everything.
Everything. And not only that, what you guys don't see what's underneath those costumes is the guys, they made us put on a man thong to sort of smooth out the junk so you don't see my entire junk going on. So there was one man thong in front, and then there was another pair of full back granny panties to put on top of the man thong to cover your butt so that you couldn't see your crack. So it was the most uncomfortable outfit ever. And literally, we were
Did you have to go to the bathroom at all, or no?
Literally, we went to the bathroom before the competition, and we were like, there was a moment where we're waiting to go into the backyard, and I can't remember, someone's like, I have to pee, and like, dead silence. They're like, I guess I'll wait till the competition's done, because there was no way you could get out of that costume. Once you were in it, you were done. You're committed. It's like,
how long were you in those things, like, after the, like, because you have to do your DRs, right? So, like, you have to sit around in those things until they come.
So I will say this, that competition, it lasted a lot longer than you probably expected it to. I would say we were spooling around for a good 2 hours.
Oh my god.
I got diaper, please. Diaper? Can I get a diaper?
Right. They should have given you Depends under those things. Like.
And the thing is, like, instantly, I put on the outfit, and we hadn't even left the bedroom yet to start the competition, and I was sweating so profusely everywhere, it was disgusting. And I don't know if it showed through on TV, but we were all sweating so badly that we were getting, like, these nasty yellow, like, pit sweat stains. And then we were getting them at our knees and behind our legs. And, like, I was getting some major swaths going on. It was so...
Like, swamp ass, woohoo!
It was bad. Like, Brittany was sweating under her boobs. Like, it was
my god.
It was so bad.
And, like, Sarah's, like, dying in the corner, like...
Oh. And that Sarah's freak out was literally scary. Like, she was vomiting, and she couldn't breathe, and then she started hyperventilating, and she was all tied up. And she literally, like, panicked. She had a panic attack, and there was nothing she could do. I literally felt terrible for her, because I'm trying to pay attention to spooling my thread around, and I'm watching her literally have a meltdown in her costume. Like, it was... That competition.
Like, they didn't stop that to, like, get her out. Like, they just made you guys be like, sorry, honey, you go die in the corner. I gotta continue.
All right, speaking of costumes, I don't want to run out of time because we've got to talk about the French maids.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Evan and Zach were on point in those French maid costumes. I was so excited. Not only was I excited to see them in their get-ups and do everything, but I was like, the feeders are going to get some really good shots of up the skirt. And I was super excited at all the shots that the feeders sent to me of up Kevin's skirt, up Zach's skirt. We got some really good footage as far as I'm concerned.
Did you ever get the gift that they had where it was Kevin was like, his stuff was out. Like, it was
No. Can you guys find these for me? Whoever's watching, find it for me and tweet it at me, please.
There was a gift, where they were trying to put it back in. Like, there was like...
Yes. I love it. I want to see these.
So what did you think of the fortune task? Like,
I will follow you if you find me this gift. I will follow you if you can.
I wish I had favorited it. I wish I had favorited it. I watched it and I was like, Johnny will love this, and I did consider like quote tweeting it and tweeting it to you, and I'm like, no, that's a little crazy. So.
No, never. Ever. Find something you think I'm gonna like, you send it to me.
Okay.
Anyone watching, same thing. You find something you think Johnny's gonna like, you send it to me. I put that in every single tweet.
Colleen and Delta in the chat room, did you hear that, girls? Find it.
Johnny Colatruglio, come on.
Come on, you guys. The crazy eviction. Let's go back to
Leo.
Right?
I will try and find it. So now we evict Bobby. Bobby goes out, and I think now at this point we're in that point in the game where like you guys have kind of forgotten that other people exist in the world. So you'll walk on that stage to those hundreds of people, and you're like, fuck.
Exactly.
Bobby looked like he didn't understand what was in front of him. He was just like,
yeah, honestly. I was day 28 and I still felt that way walking out. And so that was crazy to me. And I can only imagine the way Bobby felt as well. I think then let's go right into the meat and potatoes of what happened.
Yes. Bobby's out. Brittany wins HOH. Like
crazy. So Brittany killed it. Like Brittany's been in a slop coma basically for the last 4 weeks. And all of a sudden this girl shows up, looks fierce, and basically gets almost every single question right. I think she maybe missed one of them. And I was like blown away. I'm like, you go, girl. You do it. And I was super happy for her. I knew that meant Sarah was 100% safe. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. Her initial nominations were fairly decent. She puts Kevin, Zach, and Peely up there. I mean, she could have made a little bit more of a ballsier move and stuck up Bruno instead of Peely, or, you know, maybe thrown up Ashley instead of Peely. But I understand the reason she kept Bruno off the block initially. She obviously has something or had something going or thought she has something going with Bruno. Whether Bruno would ever honor that or not is a different story. But she obviously felt keeping him off would be beneficial to her. So I can respect that. So I think those initial nominations for Brittany made perfect sense. So I was like, you know what? Girl, she's going to actually do something this week. The part
I was pretty impressed with her nominations too. She's the only one that's actually doing what is going on in her head. Like everyone else is like, oh, we have all of this stuff we want to do, and then they get HOH and they kind of like shy back from it.
I know.
Like she wanted Greg out, got him out. She wanted a couple broke up, she's got a couple broke up.
Exactly. And so I think then the crazy part that left all of us with our jaws on the floor was Bruno wins the power veto.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, like we're like Zach and Kevin are in the lead, and then boom, all of a sudden Bruno has it. And like, whoa, what the hell? That was so crazy. And then the part that left all of us in dumbfound, all across Canada, all over the world, he uses it and saves Zach, and it's like, what? Mind blown. I stood up and was screaming at my TV. I was like, what the hell just happened?
I know, and I'm just like, what is going on here? I don't like, because you've been talking about nothing but getting that kid out of the house for the last 2-3 weeks.
That's exactly it. That's the thing that drove me crazy. And it was like, I would understand if maybe there was something leading up to it, that they had this discussion and, you know, they were, you know, but that wasn't happening. Up until the night before the eviction, Bruno was talking hardcore about Zach being his #1 target. The only possible thing that I could think of that crossed Bruno's mind in that moment was he had a moment where he panicked that the girls are going to work together and are going to work against the boys. And he's got to keep a strong guy. And obviously he felt like he could trust Zach, and that's why maybe he saved them. I think maybe that was what was going through his head. Sure as hell shocked all of us. I mean, I never saw that coming at all. I thought he was going to leave the noms the same. And, you know, Zach and Kevin would have went home and boom, boom, and that would have been that. But holy shit, did he blow my mind when he used it. And then
Brittany.
The rest of the sequence of events, again, my mind continued to explode. So Brittany nominates Willow? Really? Willow?
I'm shocked too. Why? Why?
The only reason I can think of this, and this is the problem with girls and like girls working with girls, is because girls are bitches.
Yes.
And girls can't put their shit honest to God, we're bitches, and we cannot put our shit aside for 10 minutes and get through a fucking game and deal with our shit later. So and the thing is, same thing with Willow, is all Brittany sees is Willow getting close and taking her Sarah away, and all Willow sees is Brittany getting close to her Sarah and taking her Sarah away too.
Right.
So this is the reason that I am like 98% sure that this is the reason why Willow ended up on that block, because she wanted Sarah back to herself. And this is why Girls' Alliances never, ever work.
It's so upsetting because Brittany, it would have been in Brittany's benefit to put aside her differences with Willow, because there would have been 3 strong girls Well, not let's okay, strong. Okay, whatever. That's but there would have been 3 girls together in an alliance post triple eviction. And not only that, by sticking Willow on the block, you still leave an alliance of 3, and then Willow leaving, you leave an alliance of 3 intact from the diapers. How, like, to me that was.
Let's talk about diapers for a second. What the fuck? Like,
What
why?
kind of name is that, first off? I guarantee you that name was Ashley or Peely's for sure. They named it for sure. There's no way Kevin or Zach came up with that name at all. Impossible. That's a Peely alliance name.
Oh,
for sure.
yeah,
You want to
totally.
name the alliance? Let's call ourselves the Diapers. Like, really? Honestly.
I fucking hate it.
And so here, the other thing that drove me crazy last night, and I hate to say anything awful or bad about my girl Sarah because I love her. What the hell were you thinking? Saving Peely over Willow? What are you thinking?
I think I've wrapped my brain around. I haven't really, but I want to think I've wrapped my brain around this, and I think she thought the guys were voting Kevin, so she knew that her vote for Willow wouldn't matter. So she needed to vote for, like, she knew, like, and Ashley was going to vote for Peely, and so she needed to go with whoever wasn't going to vote for Kevin and to get Kevin out, which is what I think. But it doesn't even make sense because it's like Bruno, Godfrey, and Zach voting, so those are all 3 boys.
Yeah.
And I still even really don't understand it, but
No.
yeah.
And I mean, us as viewers missed a whole lot of what happened, sort of in the scrambling between the ceremony and the votes and everything like that. From what I've read from.
Oh, I'll fill you in because I had someone that was there. So
okay, I want to hear it all because from what I understand, there was a lot going on, and maybe that's what we're missing on here. Maybe there was.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even so much what happened between. Like, I know, like, between the vote, like, I mean, Sarah did give Brittany permission to put up Willow, which I think is kind of stupid. Like, I mean, Sarah kind of does control a little bit of Brittany, so yeah. I think she had just said, you know what, if you just leave Willow alone for right now, like, let's deal with Willow next week, let's deal with her, like, at a later date, like, let's just get through this, let's put up an Ashley, let's get these people out of the house.
Yeah.
Then it would have been better, because I think, like, you know, leaving Peely is a good idea, because whoever, like, I mean, as long as Kevin's gone, Peely's very malleable.
Right.
You can pick her up.
She's a vote. And also, too, Britt said that she didn't trust Willow. She said it kind of early.
But she doesn't even need to trust Willow, because Willow trusts Sarah implicitly, so as long as Sarah is still working for Brittany, right, Willow will never go against her.
There we go.
So what do we think of, okay, so Colleen in our chat room says, poor Willow with that jury letter she wrote.
She's going to take it to the jury herself.
Good job, Colleen. Yeah, what about that?
She's got the letter in hand when she shows up at the jury. I wrote you guys a letter, but now I get to read it to you.
I'm going to hand it to you.
Poor Willow.
It's so fantastic. It's so fantastic. But, like, the real blow-ups kind of happened after the vote. Now, apparently Sarah lost her mind on Bruno.
Really?
To the point where she thought they might have to bring in security.
Are you serious?
That's how bad. She's like, the room was intense. The house was intense. Like, she's like, the finale last season had nothing on what the vibe. And, like, I mean, I was in finale last year, and the vibe in finale was pretty tense. Like, when John sent out Netta, that was like, like, that's like, that was like an earthquake through the thing. Like, this was like 10 times more worse. And, like, they were talking about it this morning on the feeds, like, to each other. Like, they kind of went into it a little bit again, and then they hugged it out. Like, they make up really quick. And, like, Bruno was kind of like, Bruno, I think, lost his shit a little bit. So at being attacked.
Each other, like, they're cussing each other out. Like, what?
She got right in his face and started screaming at him. You made me, like, there had to have been something where Bruno was going to keep Kevin or something, like, because the way Bruno had to have changed the way he was voting is, like, what I'm thinking. Like, he was never going to vote to keep Willow, so he must have changed it, because she's like, I just voted my friend out of the house.
Yeah.
And she got, like, she started screaming at him, and, like, Bruno today was like, he must have gotten right in her face and started screaming back, because he apologized this morning saying, like, you know, I used to have a temper. I've gotten a good control of it, but when people scream at me like that, that's kind of my trigger.
Yikes.
So he did, like, something, like, it was bad last night. And apparently there were cops at the studio, like, not for what was going on inside, I think. I think there were some issues with audience, but like, it was a crazy night at
wow.
I know.
I hope we get some of that in the next episode.
I know they gotta show that.
They've got to.
They've gotta show that. But
all right, we've got a question in the chat room from Delta. Says, Johnny, my hometown is WPG. I don't know what that is. I don't know Canada. Have you met some crazy fans since you've been home?
Yeah, I've met so many fans.
Besides Dana.
I have met so many fans. None of them are crazy. I love all of the support. You know, being the first Winnipegger, the first Manitoban in the Big Brother house period is amazing. I'm so glad that that's something no one can ever take away from me. I love all of my fans. So any of you Winnipeggers out there who are listening and watching, if you see me, do not hesitate to come up to me. You want a picture, I will take a picture with you. Whatever.
I don't know what you just put yourself in for there, Johnny.
Oh, you just did it, Johnny. You just did it.
You just did it.
I have one from say hello, whatever. I love it. Please.
I have a question from Twitter from one of our fan favorites. He actually he blogs for us. Is at Vince1187. He loves you. He says, "I love you. How sad are you that you can't be in Jury House with Kevy Webby?"
I know. I'm super upset about it, and I would like. I mean, sitting in jury is certainly no prize to being a loser, brother. My consolation, or the way I'm sort of dealing with my emotion of not being a part of jury right now, is the fact that I get to be out with all of my fans and interacting with them and doing things like this with you guys. And I love this kind of thing. This is so much fun. But yeah, it would be nice to be in jury with Kev. And I mean, he did make a comment to me in the house that with enough alcohol, you never know what might happen.
Okay.
So,
Dana's the same way.
Okay, so Johnny's getting Kevin drunk finale night.
Finale, Kevin is getting wasted, and we're going to see where this goes.
Hey, we'll be there in person, so we'll get to see it firsthand, all three of us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No.
So speaking of Kevin, how was his face when he came out on stage? He just looked like he had the air deflated out of him. How did you feel? Were you sad? Were you crying? Did you cry?
You know what? I was so upset. I did not want to see Kevin go, but like that is the move that had to happen with him up on the block. I would like to say that Kevin exited with such class, said goodbye to everyone. You know what? Like, I mean, I gave hugs to everyone on my way out the door. No hard feelings. Game is game, and that's just me. But a lot of people have had this really sour sort of exit, as far as I'm concerned, and they just get up and walk out.
Let's talk about Willow's exit.
Yes, bawling.
I'm scared for Willow's mental health, to be honest.
Like, honestly.
Well, she went in as a straight girl and came out as a gay girl, and Dick. Oh God, I'm evicted. Oh
my God. Like, Psych is gonna be working overtime with her, to be honest. Like, honest to God,
I felt bad for her, but like Kevin exited with such class, said goodbye to everyone. I feel like that's the way you do need to go out, though. Like, I don't know. I don't get the just walk out the door and not say goodbye to everyone thing. That's just not.
He is pretty classy. Like when I did your exit interview for your reality recaps, I did Kevin's today. And he has some things that he talks about you in that interview. And I'm not going to say anything. When it's done and up, I will send you the link.
Oh my
and
God.
it'll be a surprise because it'll be in his voice. But he's a good sport. He really is. And
oh my God, is that in the file yet? Can I edit that? Like,
yeah.
Tonight? Oh my God.
File.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to edit that. Oh my God.
Were you guys watching Kevin's Google Hangout this afternoon?
I try not to because I don't like to ask the same, like, I don't want to know that someone's already asked the same question I have, so I try not to watch interviews before I do them.
I had sent a message hoping that they would get it through to Kevin, and I wasn't sure if they would or not. But I basically sent a message saying, Kevy Wevy, I miss you to pieces. I love you so much. No hard feelings. Game is game, and I totally understand that. I was rooting for you. Love you. See you soon. He got the question. Literally, his face lit up, and I was completely bawling my eyes out when he read the question back. I got really choked up and a little emotional too. And I was a disaster. I was at work weeping at my computer screen because he basically said, I'm so sorry that, I couldn't help you when you were on the block, but I couldn't stick my neck out there. I love you to pieces. And he was all choked up, and oh God, it was.
You Canadians are very emotional and criers, I have to say. You and Dave, both of you are just. Hey, so Johnny, we have a Mr. We have Mr. AG, the artist, watching. Big fan of ours, big fan of yours. Can you give a shout out?
What's up, AJ? Woo!
Good.
I love you.
Oh my gosh, this has been so fun.
I know we're at the top of the hour, aren't we?
I know. Oh my god, this is 6:36.
It goes by so quick.
I am so glad that this is the week we got you. I know we tried last week and it didn't connect.
I know, but this worked out perfect.
I know. This is the week that a super fan has to talk about what happened, because this has never ever happened in Big Brother ever. So it's just Willow and Kevin are gone now. So now we have a 4-person jury. What did you think of Jordan's reaction to Cindy? Let's just quickly.
Oh yeah.
I feel like maybe that was a little for camera. You can guarantee that those two are sleeping in the same bed, and it is quite possible that JP no longer has. That's my first question to JP on finale night. Did she take your card? Is it gone?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever really believe the whole Bobby is a virgin?
I didn't. I didn't at all.
No.
Now, do you think in that house Ashley is still holding on to that card? Is she clutching that for dear life, or is that disintegrating?
After some of the things we found out that happened in there, and I'm sure everyone knows what I'm referring to in the have-not room, is she a virgin? I don't know.
Well, maybe half the house are virgins because everyone's sexual identity's all over the place, and everybody's new and one
Oh my gosh, we didn't ask you what happened in your brain when you found out that Kevin's a poker player.
So when I found out he was a poker player, I was completely shocked and surprised. He basically said that he was unemployed, and I was like, Kevin, that makes sense. I was like, that's totally Kevin. I could totally see that. And then to find out that he was a poker player, I was like, damn, that makes him that much sexier. Totally.
So many secrets. A lot of people are hiding their identities this year, Neha being a chiropractor, and Bruno being a first-class gamer, and Greg in his baseball career.
The Neha thing was the one I think that blew my mind the most, though. Neha told me in the room after she dropped out of the ropes competition, and I literally lost my shit. I was like, what? No way! It blew my mind. Wait, and there's one other thing we didn't talk about. This big Twistos twist, the secret in the have-not room.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Kevin looked like he was on that.
So, obviously, based on Arissa's description of it, to me it sounds, the only thing is, I don't know if we got enough details from them yet, from Big Brother. It sort of sounds like a coup d'etat of sorts. So they're forced to pull one person off the block, and then have the option of pulling two. But they don't stipulate whether that person gets to name the replacement or it's the HOH.
It's the HOH. If you go to the website, you go to where you vote.
Yeah.
It's the HOH has to nominate again. So.
And is the veto holder safe?
Sorry?
Is the power of veto holder safe?
Yes, the HOH is safe and the veto holder is safe. And the way it's going to work is, I guess this is going to close before we know who's HOH, before we know who's HOH, because if the votes come back and one of the people chosen for this power is HOH, then it goes down to the second and third highest people.
Okay, that makes sense.
If Bruno wins HOH and he was chosen, then it's going to be whoever came after. So really, if you've won this power and you've won HOH, you actually have the least amount of power in the game.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, this is going to be crazy.
That is totally going to be crazy. I have to say, for all of the Johnny fans watching, put Brittany and Sarah in there. I know that they kind of made a couple boo-boos this week with Willow going up and out, but put those two in there because if you want to see a big person like Zach or Bruno go out the door, that could possibly happen depending on who's HOH. So do it up. That's who I am voting.
And the HOH is still going on as we speak. Apparently, the feeds aren't back yet, so we have no idea. I know. I voted for Brittany and Godfrey to win this power because I know
Godfrey with Godfrey winning it too.
Because Godfrey will take out Zach, and that's all. I just want someone who will go after Zach.
Someone needs to take Zach out. Like it has to happen. Peter needs to have his roast of Zach on the sideshow.
And the thing is, Willow was in such a state last night that Peter said nothing to her on the sideshow.
And that's probably the best way of doing it because if Peter had said something, it's quite possible she wouldn't have went to jury today. You know what I mean? Like, it's quite possible she would have needed...
Yeah, Gary handled Willow. I was, like, seriously, like, she's, like, just looking at her on the block, she lost her mind, and then that poor girl, like, I feel so bad for her.
But, I mean, I'm that much of a super fan, too, but, like, it is what it is. Like, that's the way the game works, and only one person leaves there as the winner, you know? And we all went there thinking we were going to win, but when that moment doesn't happen, I mean, I guess for her, she had zero time to process the emotion because she was up on the block and out the door. So, but still, pull yourself together, girl.
And people were kind of talking today on the feeds as if, what if this is her strategy? Because people have kind of been avoiding putting Willow on the block because they know how emotional she is. Like, what if this was her strategy? Like, let's just play this as I'm going to lose my mind and, like, want to jump off the balcony if I get put on the block in hopes that they just never bother to do it. Like,
and except that we got to see the genuine reaction of Willow sitting on the stage with Arissa looking like a disaster, basically. And then you knew that was the real Willow. That shit wasn't actually just an act.
I would have been pissed I had to leave the house looking like that, to be honest with you.
Listen, she lost her sexual identity. She went in, she's now a lesbian. She lost a whole bunch of cash. I'd be crying too, okay?
She lost her damn mind.
her bank account's in the negative. She's a lesbian now. I'm like, what did this show do to me?
Poor Willow. I could just give her a big hug right now. I did feel terrible for her watching her, but at the end of the day, I've been through it. I got evicted, and it just...
Pull yourself together, girl. Come on. You're stronger than that.
And we're so glad you're gay,
Johnny.
Speak for yourself. Damn it.
All right.
But we should wrap this up.
Wrap it up. Yes. Johnny, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Colatruglio, JCOLATRUGLIO. And I love to live tweet the show, so, you know, watch out for those.
Yeah.
I'm constantly posting things about my thoughts, the live feeds, and what's going on in the house. You can also see a bunch of cool pictures on Instagram, and those are especially going to be really great once I go back for finale and we go to Niagara with all of the former house guests. You can follow me on Instagram, Johnny Colatruglio, my full name. And see all the pictures that I already have up on there and all the pictures that are to come. So check me out.
Yes. Where can I find you, John?
You can find me at Comedy Jonah. I'm so excited. In 2.5 weeks, we'll be standing live with you. So excited to see you in person, give you a big hug, and interview you, of course. Yay!
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter at dgoodyear1975, and you can find all of our Big Brother Canada coverage. We have blog recaps, we have these video recaps, we have all of our exit interviews with all the cast at yourrealityrecaps.com/bbcan, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and thumbs up this video, because that really helps us support our shows, and share us on social media so that everybody can see the beautifulness that is Johnny, because as cute as he is in this little picture, he is gorgeous in person.
Aw, thank you. Made me blush.
I'm in love, even though it's disgusting because I am way older than you. So.
And you're straight.
Yes, and I'm straight.
And married.
And I'm married. But girl can have a hall pass, and we can turn him straight for one
My
night.
goodness, Dana.
With Brittany, you never know, right?
Yeah, you did kiss a lot of girls in that house. You guys were kissing everybody in that house.
I kissed everyone. Damn right.
Your tongue had a lot of miles in that short 28 days.
Dana, you're a mother, for goodness sakes.
They're not here. They're not here, but next week we will be back at our regular time, Fridays at 3 o'clock Eastern. I am working on Neha for next week.
Woohoo!
Put in a good word for us, Johnny, please.
Yes.
And so we will be back next week to recap week 8, and we will see you next week. So say bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.